So what up 2K fans, shout out to the Shake Squad, Noti Gang stand up. The last couple days have been very interesting. Wang has just made his triumphant return back to Twitter. Not sure if it was because he was out on holiday break or finally just voicing his opinions on what needs to be fixed for 2K21. But he is our go-to guy for hotfixes and patches, and it was great for the community to finally get our suggestions directed to the guy that we know can get the job done. Now, judging from our experience from past 2Ks, just because Wang is getting involved doesn't necessarily mean the game is going to be perfect. In a lot of previous cases, the community hated the changes. Usually sometime around late January or sometime around this time, we get a lot of community backlash from, a bad patch or an animation or two that's been removed, or maybe some things that made the game even worse. So 2K is really treading on a thin line with regards to how to satisfy this community. Sometimes they cater to the sim heads, removing cheesy dribble animations and increasing defense, and then sometimes they cater to the casuals, increasing dunking animations, reducing defense, and allowing more white, bad release jump shots to fall. But for now, let's dive into some of the changes Wang promises and some of the responses that he had for the community. Now, the first thing Mike said when he came back was there was a recent hotfix that went in to fix the easy special delivery team takeover and a slight nerf to contact dunks. Let me know what further changes are needed. We're looking into post-hook exploits, fading threes, and OP blinders badge. Any other badges need adjusting? I definitely agree with the special delivery team takeover. However, that was actually in 2K20, it just wasn't as ridiculous as it was this year. But now it kind of feels like it's nearly impossible to get team takeover on the park. Like, there's been plenty of times when I have double takeover and I'll hit a three-pointer with shot creating or sharpshooting takeover, and I still don't have team takeover. I can definitely agree with the slight nerf to contact dunks. Not necessarily sure if that's entirely the problem. A lot of people made builds with no interior defense and or no strength, and because of that, everyone's getting dunked on. Now, even if you have strength and interior defense, you're still getting posterized, but that's mainly due to the fact that just about every build has a 90+ driving dunk. I just think that some animations shouldn't trigger unless you have slash or takeover, because everybody's getting bodied no matter what your takeovers are, so it's almost like no one needs to have slash or takeover. Now, fading threes is definitely a problem. The only counter to it is that defensive perimeter takeover that gets your arm up better and nullifies a lot of the badges. I don't seem to have that big of a problem with it when I have that guy on my team, but nobody runs those takeovers. And believe it or not, you can hit fades even if you don't have the shot creating takeovers. And we all know if you have Hall of Fame blinders coupled with negative impact, no matter what anybody does, that shot's going in and it might be green. I did a video before the game launched explaining that some of these combinations are gonna definitely be overpowered. The counters for these overpowered badges do exist, just rarely anybody uses them. And not to mention, defense has been dumbed down this year. Alex Perez asked, how about nerfing charges on next gen? Anytime I drive, majority of the time it turns into a charge animation. Now, I ain't gonna front, there are times in the rec center that I get called for a charge when I'm not even holding sprint. It is a bit cheesy, but nowhere near as bad as it was in 2K19 when you could just take a charge almost from anywhere on the court. So I was kind of shocked to see Wang respond to that when that part of defense is not a primary focus. We need some better animations for blocking dunks or stopping people from getting posterized more than anything else. And that brings me to the next question from Mike Stay Cookin'. He says contact dunks are way too common. You literally get dragged into it. Maybe add contact blocks if you know what I mean. Now, keep in mind, there was a lot of people in this community that were really tired of the archetype system, and they wanted to go back to like 2K15, 2K16, where you could max out all of your attributes for all your categories. Essentially, that's what 2K did. They got rid of the pie charts because the community hated them, and now everyone has balanced players that can do just about anything, just like 2K15, 2K16. But now that we have these balanced players that can do everything, shoot threes, dunk on anybody, play good defense, and dribble the ball, everybody's back to complaining again. So which is it? Do we need to have players that can't dunk but can shoot the three well? Or players that can dunk but can't really shoot? Or a balanced player that has somewhat of a lower dunk rating, average defense, maybe just a good enough three-point shot to make some threes like they had in the past? Or do we want to stay overpowered? This community's really got to decide on what they want, because 2K kind of gave it to you and now everybody's hating on it. Another question in from Froxy. He says contact dunks are cruise. It was good where it was after the recent nerf, The fix for special delivery was good, but can you nerf fades? That's literally it. Blinders is good where it's at. Also patch error codes. And Mike responded, initial fade fix will come via patch, but after that, it will be possible to adjust independently without affecting the shot types with hotfixes. We'll be looking for feedback until almost everyone is happy. That brings me back to my previous point. You can't make everybody happy, and you have to be careful what you wish for. And again, I was kind of shocked that Mike responded to this. He's already mentioned a fix for fades, so he's gonna be patching that. I'm shocked that he didn't talk about or respond to some of the other questions that pertain heavily to defense. Wizard asks, Baluba, any ETA on the upcoming next gen patch? And Mike simply says we're working on it. If a patch comes in, it's probably to fix some of the foul corruptions, the invisibility issues, people lagging out, and some of the syncing problems we've been seeing on PS5. But 2 days ago, his return is mainly pertaining to the next patch, which they don't even have a date for when it's coming out. Microsoft and Sony have to approve them first, and that takes a while. The last tweet Mike put out before recently was at the end of November, and he was saying that players with high interior defense and the rim protector badge will be dunked on less with today's patch. The block rating still determines the strength of actual contests and block success. Now, most people made builds with a 25 interior defense and 0 strength, things like that, and they still have the badges, but they feel like they should be getting blocks and they're still getting posterized. Because I have a build with at least a 70 interior defense, Hall of Fame rim protector, and I still get posterized. Maybe I need a 90 interior defense to kind of protect myself. But someone driving to the rim with a 95 driving dunk, who's already made 2 buckets and probably has a 99 driving dunk at this point while building takeover, is still gonna dunk on you. This is definitely the year for the slashers. I just wish that some of those posterizing animations where they're stepping over your dead body and everything were kind of reserved for the slasher takeover. Because right now there's just no fear for going to the rim. There's no rim protectors in 2K21 next gen. Judah Beast asks Mike, do attributes always matter, or does the badge take over once applied? And Mike says attributes always matter. Badges basically enhance your existing ratings. It's really just like a +3 or +4 if you have Hall of Fame in most cases, guys. It might be an increase to your percentages for shooting, certain things like that, but in most cases it's like just a +3 or a +4. So if you have a low rating in a certain category and you just get a +3 or +4, that's not really doing it for you. And lastly, Mike tweets, next gen hotfixes, slight nerf to blinders, and white makes in park and pro-am. This is one that you guys are just gonna have to experiment with. If you feel like there's a nerf to blinders or you see less whites going in, usually around this time of year people are saying that, but then sometime in the early spring, then as we go through the summer, people are still complaining about it. Anyway, let me know in the comment section if you guys feel like these changes are gonna save 2K21 next gen. For those of you guys that are just now getting a next gen console, are you planning on getting 2K21 next gen to play with the rest of us? I was told that only 30% of the gaming community got the next gen consoles, and even less than that got 2K. So like, it's a very small percentage of the 2K community playing the next gen version. Is that portion of the community enough to really determine where 2K should take this game moving forward? As always, let me know if this video helped. Smack that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Fading is good. Bottoms, 100 points. Now I can foul out and I'll be all right with it. I wanted to get those steals to get a quadruple double, but that's probably gonna have to be in the future. Look at that easy crossover, another 360. 142 to 90 points.